Hey folks, so today we will talk about the sovereign U and the personal knowledge graphs. Actually, yeah, I know maybe it's not so common about the topic in a self-sovereign identity, but I believe that it's a part of the self-sovereign person and the data that the personal knowledge graphs is the cool things, and um, you probably already using it. And if you use the Google search, for example, the Google collect the personal knowledge graph about yourself and optimize the search for you. So your medical insurance company probably have the personal knowledge graph about yourself, and a lot of other companies that do the personalization do it for you. But why you not do the stuff? So actually, the knowledge graphs are not so old idea relatively, and they heavily used in enterprise for the search, for normalizing the data from the different sources, and what's more important, it's more natural way to represent the knowledge and present the information and deduct the new knowledge from the old relations. So the concept is relatively simple, that you have the nodes that represent some kind of entities and the information and relation between these nodes that actually bring some kind of what kind of relation it is and some kind of metadata. And actually the graph databases and the knowledge graphs, they are more natural for large amount of domains and large amount of applications. So they was dominating on the 60s before the Claude came with the relational model and changed how we store the data. But the knowledge graphs, actually it's useful topic for the artificial intelligence, it's useful topic for the the memory and all other things. And the personal knowledge graph, it's the knowledge graph that have in a center the user. So it's a user centric. Practically every topic is connected with the user, it's connected with you, that's why it's personal. And we still lacking the tools that allow us to build the personal knowledge graph effectively. So everything probably started from the concept of the knowledge management systems and note taking, and actually it's the best that we have right now, and it's quite a long story. So for example, the first personal knowledge graph system was designed by the Luhmann. It's the German sociologist that actually in the 70s, just with a piece of paper and shoebox, create the system of the interlinked nodes that have a reference to each other and have back references. And actually we could treat the Zettelkasten as a first personal knowledge graph and personal knowledge management system that it was extremely effective. So maybe in my other videos we will talk about this technique and the tools for this technique, actually because it's quite helpful for the tools of sorts. So, and in some point around 2021, 2022, we had the boom of the personal knowledge and management systems. So we get a lot of apps that try to solve this problem and try to solve it in a completely different way. And I guess the quite big topic was the org mode for Emacs, but the adoption of the org mode was quite low because it's too dirty. You need to know Lisp, you need to use Emacs, it's hard to use it outside of the Emacs. So I guess it's yet another topic for yet another article. But the first game changer was probably the ROM research, and they bring the simple idea of the links and backlinks that you connect the nodes. You create the references between the nodes, and it's work like the wiki or the just a simple HTML, that you have the interconnected graph of nodes. But one big difference, that you see all the references that coming to this page and all the references that are coming out of this page. So you see the links and backlinks, and it was the revolution that really allows to build the graphs and show the connection between the ideas and show the connection between the entities. It's visualize these entities, and it's form non-linear note-taking tool that allows you to, you know, deduct some new relations, new ideas, and it was practically quite mind-blowing, and couple of other applications emerge. So for example, Obsidian, it's a local fast application that work with the data as the MD files that allows you to create this knowledge graphs. And or the LogSeq, for example, it's yet another open source project that allows you to work with the local files, build the graphs, and even give you possibility to query your nodes as a relational graph database using the data log. It's yet another topic to discover. It's yet another topic for a video. But you know, if you will try to divide the personal knowledge graphs for the personal knowledge management systems, we will see that we have practically 3 generations of the apps. So the first generation of the app was that you have the nodes, but you don't have the possibility to create the relations, and these nodes are concentrated in the different apps. So you need to keep the relations yourself between your browser links, between your spreadsheets, between the documents in a Word, between the documents in quite different systems. So maybe somewhere you have some kind of mind maps of the different informations that's stored in a different app. So everything was accumulated in app silos, and it was the problem. The next generation of the systems was to try to make this app of app that bring all the node taking and information management to one big app, but it's failed completely. And the next generation of node taking apps and knowledge management systems came with the idea of this links and bank links, and they form the knowledge graphs. Another set of tools that could be useful but quite limited in use as the concept maps, so they allows you to build a more visual representation of the knowledge graphs. And third generation, it's not what actually on the market right now, and it's what we keen to build with artificial intelligence, but this generation of the personal knowledge graphs and personal knowledge management systems will give you the possibility to work with the graph directly, to understand the graph, to edit the new relations, to deduct the new information from the existing relations and be more effectively in your work. And right now we have some tool sets that allow us to work with the graphs, for example, some data log or some graph management systems, store the information about the graph as the RDF and use the SparkQL, but it's extremely complex, it's extremely technical, it's require you to be a bit of the data scientist, and let's say that the UI is not so here, so we really lacking the tool that allow us not just create the nodes, but describe somehow and give the metadata not to the node but to the relation itself. So we actively ignore the relations, we actively ignore the graph, and I believe that it's in next years the set generation of tools that actually will realize that the power is in a relation, because it's how the brain actually manage our information via the connections. Yeah, so and I experimenting right now with big amount of tools. I experimenting right now with the different data representations. I will share a lot of these insights with you on this channel for sure, and I really believe that it's quite crucial piece of the sovereign person, this knowledge thinking and personal knowledge graphs. I guess that they really help to build a holistic view on yourself with your data. So it was all that I was keen to share with you, and see you next time. Cheers.